Okay, it's a quick video for myself, Harvey Goldman. No cuts, no edits, no filters, and no hair. So for today's video, I want to jump into a very quick one. Can you ever truly escape the UK system? So let's find out. Can you really escape in the UK? Stick around, I'm going to show you the hidden traps waiting for you no matter where you are. Whether it's relocation, side hustles, financial independence, whatever your reasons are. Is true freedom even possible, or does the system always look for and eventually find a way to pull you back in? So by the end of this video, you'll know whether beating the system is a fantasy or something that you can actually achieve. And let's get into it. So the first one is relocation. So there are relocation pitfalls, things like new costs. There are tax implications. You might have the loss of NHS protections if it's overseas, for example. The biggest of these is obviously the expense. Relocating is not cheap. You know, you are penalised for selling a property. You have to pay your stamp duty, which, let's face it, is just free money for the government. And that's a ridiculous tax in itself. And it is exorbitantly expensive. And it only gets worse the more expensive your home. And obviously the loss of NHS protections if you're moving outside. I mean, that's huge as well. Because although the NHS is on its arse, although it's failing and the waiting lists are ridiculous, and, you know, I believe it's part of a con game to push people into a private sector sort of environment, which is obviously there's more money in that. They've obviously done a bit of a deal with our gov. Tinfoil hat time. But yeah, the implications having to pay for medical if you're somewhere overseas that doesn't have a medical program can be massive. I mean, if you break a leg in Thailand, for example, could easily be £6,000, £7,000, £8,000 to get that fixed. So these are things to consider, and they are definitely pitfalls. And they are also ways that the system keeps you held, because you might be worried about your health. You might be worried about spending all that money on stamp duty. There are digital traps, and obviously data follows you everywhere. That's not new. Whether it's social media, whether it's online spending, you've got a financial footprint. And this is exacerbated now by supermarkets and retail. Snapping your photo at the till, obviously with your card information. So not only is your image linked to what you spend, it's also linked to where you go. And this is all valuable data. So your data follows you everywhere. And it is very hard to break out of that. Now, the obvious answer is to pay with cash. But then for how much longer? I mean, let's face it, as much as we all say pay with cash, you'll miss it when it's gone. It's going. We know it's going. There will eventually come a time where cash won't be king. It's almost there now. I mean, let's face it, with the advent of online shopping, it is almost there now. There are certain services that I think you'll always be able to pay for with cash, things like tradesmen and stuff like that. But then you're not getting geolocated by those, are you? So I think when it comes to groceries and bog standard retail, I think that money's probably about to have its day. Certainly, I think in the next 10 years, the landscape for using cash is going to be irreversibly changed. And all of this, it leads to an economic dependency. So even the self-employed and even side hustlers, they still rely on the UK infrastructure, whether it's banking, whether it's markets, really whatever it might be, whether it's, you know, needing to drive, whether it's traffic, and bearing in mind you're still tracked there. So the infrastructure is still there, and it's very hard to break free from that. There is a psychological system at play. So even when you leave physically, many people still carry the same consumption habits, whether it's debt, whether it's mindset, and these obviously have their own pressures attached. There is a chap, I think he's called Joe Fish. I'm pretty sure that's his name. And he goes around mainly Cornwall. I believe he lives in Cornwall. I believe he goes around Cornwall and he does kind of street videos, a bit like an auditor, but his are kind of less intrusive. And he does street videos, and he did a recent one recently where he went to a community of people. I'm pretty sure it was in Cornwall. It was either Cornwall or Somerset, but they were off grid and they had everything. They were generating their own power, growing their own food, and yada yada yada, all the rest of it. And it was a bit of an eye opener. Now, the lifestyle that they've got, I don't think that everybody could do that. I think that there would be too many creature comforts from your current hectic and demanding lifestyle that you'd probably miss. For myself, least of all, a nice warm shower whenever I wanted it and a working internet connection. But yeah, if you can snap out of that mindset, I mean, there are arguments to be able to go off grid, and people, an increasing number of people are living van lives and everything else, and you can see these on YouTube, but they come with their own sets of problems and own sets of pressures. And I feel that, again, the system is set up in such a way that by leaving it or by trying to leave it, you're swapping one set of pressures and problems for another. After a while, it's just going to entice you back, because it seems like it's a lot of work to live off grid. So, I mean, who really escapes in all of this? I mean, obviously, the obvious ones are the people with the lowest overheads. They've got the less to lose. People that want digital freedom, people that are comfortable living a very minimalist lifestyle. So what does escape actually mean, though? Is it living off grid? Is it living on your own terms, even if you don't necessarily leave the country? Is it just living on your own terms within the country? Now, an example of how this has been attempted, and in my opinion massively failed, is a place in Denmark, and I believe it's called Christiania. You can certainly Google it anyway. So they've got this kind of, I guess you'd call it an anarchists community, and it seems like it's a load of aging hippies that just want to take drugs and not get caught up for it. That's pretty much what it seems like, or that's what it's devolved into. Whether that's how it started or not, I've no idea. But it seems like they've just got no law and order. They've got no structure that a system provides. And that's the kicker, isn't it? The system, as much as we all hate it, it does provide structure. It provides order in otherwise what would be chaos. And I think, again, one man's opinion, but I think the problem with many of the systems is that they're too authoritarian, that they're too restrictive. They kind of go overboard with rules, with regulations. Now, many of them are necessary because, let's face it, there are a ton of stupid people out there. And you do need rules, regulations, and structure to prevent stupid people from doing stupid things. And a lot of that is going to be for our safety. I think a lot of the things that our system does, it feels like it's not done out of a care for well-being or a care for safety. It's done as a cash grab. Particularly speed cameras in my area, a load of them have just gone up, and they've forced 20-mile-an-hour zones in certain areas. And these areas, they already didn't suffer from speeding. They weren't, they were high traffic areas, and therefore the traffic moved pretty much at a standstill anyway. So the speed cameras there feel like they've been put up as a cash grab. It feels like the 20-mile-an-hour zone has been done at the detriment to local economy, because in a high traffic area, forcing the traffic to go slower, surely that doesn't make it safer. It just means you're more likely to get caught in traffic. You're more likely to cause a traffic jam. Seems ridiculous. Not everything makes sense, eh? But look, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, how can people really escape the UK system, even if that means escaping without moving abroad? It baffles me. It really does. And this isn't because I'm thinking of staying in the UK and trying to escape the system that way. It just literally, it was a thought that crept into my head this morning after watching a few videos. And yeah, there you go. Obviously people do it, and obviously people do it successfully. I do see lots of videos where it goes horribly wrong though. So what are your thoughts on this? Can you escape the UK system? Yes or no? Drop it in the comments, let me know. YouTube is going to put a video up here somewhere. Like, follow, subscribe, that'd be massive. Yeah, another one tomorrow. Goldman, peace out.